I have decided to add a small little series to my usual upload schedule. It will be uploaded every 2 weeks, and in the series I will be covering all the movies I've watched and purchased that particular period. I will also give you small reviews and recommendations, without spoiling too much, so you can still enjoy these movies by yourself. I would also love to get your guys' recommendations as well, so I can review them in a future video. As always, it's great to have you. Now let's go through all of the movies I've watched the last 14 days. The first movie I've watched is a Canadian horror film called The Heretics, which caught my attention with the back of its cover. If a movie has some gory-looking practical effects on the back of the cover, there is very big chance I'm giving it a shot. This movie actually pleasantly surprised me with how good it was. It follows this girl in what looks like her 20s, who gets kidnapped by a cult. The entire cult sacrifices itself, and we see the young girl waking up surrounded by a ton of corpses. Years after this event, the girl gets kidnapped again by one of the survivors of the cult bloodbath, because another ritual is coming soon. She is taken to a remote cabin where she learns that a demon has been growing inside her all those years, and it will rise before the next sunrise. This movie starts off a bit confusing, and me feel like I dropped in halfway through the story, but the more it progresses, the clearer everything becomes. The body gore in this movie is excellent in most of the scenes and overshadows the bad acting in my opinion. I also did really like how they confused the viewer with what was the reality and what was a hallucination. Overall, I'd say this movie was average. Was expecting the worst, got an okay cult movie with some fun, tense scenes. I do have to mention, I did love the soundtrack of this movie, and might even say I liked it more than the movie itself. On to another movie from the 80s. I had never heard of this movie before, and it sounded like it was some kind of awful B-horror movie, but once again, I was sold by the back of the cover of this movie. 1989's The Dead Pit was a fairly entertaining watch, I have to admit. Its story is absolutely ludicrous, and when the pace picks up, which is at like 20 minutes already, it never slows down. From the start, we see a doctor getting shot dead and entombed with his gruesome experiments in an abandoned wing of a mental hospital. We pick up 20 years later, when a mysterious woman is admitted with amnesia. Her arrival is marked by an earthquake, and cracks open the seal of the dead pit, freeing the evil doctor to continue with his horrible acts. This movie was just a treat to watch. So much gore, so many monsters. Maybe a little too much excess nudity, but hey, it's an 80s horror movie. This movie actually had me laughing out loud a couple of times. At one point, this patient finds some kind of stick which he hits the monsters with, and the noise it makes is just so fucking stupid, I literally burst out laughing. If you're looking for a casual monster movie, which might cost you a few brain cells, this could definitely make your evening. This next movie might be one of the strangest I've watched in a while. We Go On is about a man called Miles Grissom, who is terrified by the fear of dying. To seek comfort, he offers $30,000 as a reward for the person who can show him any proof that ghosts exist, or pretty much anything to show him that there's more after death. He narrows his choices to just 3 people: a scientist, a medium, and an entrepreneur. Together with his mom, he decides to give all of them a chance, but soon his adventure will turn into an unthinkable nightmare. I found this movie at the thrift store, and the plot of the movie really interested me. It kind of reminded me of The Possession of Michael King, which I loved, so for just $1, there was no way I wasn't picking it up. I found a lot of really positive reviews of the movie online, but I thought the movie was just okay. The acting was iffy at some points, it can get a bit boring after a while, and the plot is pretty hard to follow, especially if you're not paying attention. I did like this movie's ending, as it was far from generic and honestly quite beautiful. So if you're looking for a paranormal slow burner with a big twist ending, why not give We Go On a go? Last week I also watched Dario Argento's Demons for the first time, and boy did I enjoy it. I don't want to spoil too much on this movie, as I really think you should give it a watch yourself, but this movie has some of the strangest and downright terrifying demon makeup I have ever seen. From the awful-looking teeth to the green ooze drooling from them, everything about these monsters looks so well done. The movie follows a group of random people who all got invited to the screening of a mysterious movie. As the movie plays, the guests get more violent, and one by one they start turning into these terrifying-looking demons. The remaining guests run to find an exit, but they quickly find out they're trapped inside the theater. The whole time I was watching this movie, there was just a constant smile on my face. Just a simple story with a perfect recipe for chaos. Throw in some chilling monster designs and some sweet practical effects, and you won't be disappointed. Trust me. The other movies I watched were actually rewatches, including 2018's Halloween, which I actually met the actor from who played Michael Myers like 2 weeks ago on a convention, which was really weird to see. This huge man you've only seen killing people before on the big screen suddenly standing in front of you, smiling and hugging people. Just a bit off to me. I also watched the original Beetlejuice to get in the mood for the new movie that's out, which by the time this video comes out, I will probably have seen and loved, and I also gave this year's Sting a rewatch, just because the first time I did, I fell asleep halfway through it. The second watch showed me I had every right to snooze off at that point the first time. Apart from those, I've watched a couple more, which I will quickly show in a small montage. Most of these I just had nothing to say about, really, or had no space putting them in today's episode. Now let's get into all the movies I added to my physical media collection the past 2 weeks. As I told you guys, I went to a horror convention, which was in Germany. Here I bought a bunch of unknown titles just for funs, to see if I can find any hidden gems. I've already seen a couple that really interest me, like this one, with all these grown men wearing diapers. Or this one, with all these cute little monsters that I assume turn out to be everything but cute. My favorite item I bought there was this media book collection of the House movies. It has all the movies, part 1 till 4, and also includes another little book including all kinds of information, pictures, and stories about the 4 movies. And of course, it looks absolutely gorgeous. I also found Argento's Demons Part 2 on Blu-ray, together with Part 1, so that's also a watch for the near future. Some movies I already have on DVD I finally found on Blu-ray, such as The Eye, Hostel, Jigsaw, and the others. I did not enjoy Smile as much as I thought I would, but I still decided to add a physical copy to my collection after seeing it in the cinema. And I almost forgot. I finally found a movie I've been looking for so long. I remember watching this movie online, but then it got removed, and this movie made me feel so uncomfortable at that time. I'm talking about A Dark Song, and I will be watching this movie together with you guys on my Discord very soon. So if you don't want to miss that, there's a link in the description down below. That was all the horror news I got for you today. Thank you very much if you made it all the way through this video, and I hope to see your face again in the next one.